Yeah. Just a video.
All right, Albert Amos.
President.
Victoria Snyder. Scott Kitt.
Here.
Rick Lilly.
President.
Tom Pitt.
Here.
Sharon Pons. Here. Lynn Reed.
Here.
George Strander.
Here.
Joseph Rebecki. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of prior meeting minutes. You should have draft minutes from our October 12 meeting. Give everyone a chance to review them, and then we'll entertain a motion either for approval or amendment.
Move to approve the minutes.
Moved and supported to approve the minutes as drafted. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll bring them to a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as drafted, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, they're approved. No correspondence for the commission. All right. Moving on now to the order of business. The first item is discussion and possible approval of mobile food vending ordinance. Ian, I'll have you kick it off.
Good evening, everyone. So we've been kicking this one around for a while, and I think we are finally at a adoptable version of this ordinance. I'll say that with a quick update that the only significant changes from last time we reviewed this were some formatting changes that City Attorney Harkness had. I'll say also the version that you were sent in your packets is incorrect. I gave Pamela the wrong version of it on my computer. Forgive me for that. I got about 11 drafts of this, I think, but the paper copy that I put in front of you is that. There aren't significant changes. It's just like a comma here formatting. So the version that if you printed your packet you have will have some weird markups in it. Disregard those. Only other significant change was for 22-243P. That'll be on the second to last page, the back side of the second to last page. Mobile food vending units not designed for mobile food vending in one location, including but not limited to ice cream vendors, may operate outside of private property in R1 and R2 zoning districts, provided they operate in one location for no more than 15 minutes a day. Put it simply, that's the ice cream truck exception. That is so that an ice cream truck, a helado cart, the vendors that move around, not setting up shop as part of their restaurant, are allowed to go through neighborhoods, is what that provision allows. I will conditionally recommend approval of this. Let me rephrase that. I'm recommending approval of this ordinance as it's written here with Colin's edits. The one thing that would be worth discussing, maybe not tonight, but in the future, I've received some calls about some of the food vending stands that we have up currently from aggrieved neighbors to those stands who don't believe that they should be allowed to have those stands on the adjacent properties that they're on. Specifically the one on Michigan Avenue. There's another one that was at the corner of North Street and here, somewhere on that side of town. I would leave it to your discretion if you believe that your neighbor doesn't have a right to put a food truck on their front yard and operate that business. That is a policy choice that I don't want to make on your behalf. And that is certainly something that could be amended in the future. As the ordinance is presently written, provided they obtain their license from the clerk, they could, if they so desired, operate mobile food vending on private property that they own or have permission to be on indefinitely. Outside of that, because no mention of that issue is in this ordinance, I'm recommending this ordinance unless you want to make a different decision on that piece. Entertaining.
Thank you. Any questions for Ian? Okay, Tom.
So I was a little bit concerned about the Michigan Ave one too, but I mean, we did purposely zone that mixed use, and if the owners of that property wanted to, they could put a brick and mortar restaurant there if they so chose, because it's zoned for that. So well, I understand their complaints, I don't know that the zoning is, the zoning is appropriate for what they want to do.
I will want to add on there, that was my determination when I gave them a zoning permit application for use of that lot. Now, if I was to put it in my front yard and it's not the primary use, I wouldn't feel inclined to have someone pull a zoning permit for that. But since this was going to be the primary use of that parcel, I did have them apply for a zoning permit. And under the logic you just said, I approved that zoning permit.
So I did at the last meeting ask about setbacks for those types of situations and how close to the lot lines they would have to be if there are setbacks for the mobile food trucks on those lot lines, just to have some kind of buffer for the neighboring properties, some sort of consideration for the neighboring properties, but I don't know that there are any.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I feel like is slightly discretionary in the zoning ordinance. That one is being considered the primary use, and so it has to conform to the lot setbacks of a primary structure. If it was going to be in my driveway, and I have a, in the driveway of the property where I live, where I've got my house, I would require it to comply with the accessory structure setback standards, which are more lenient. But they still have setbacks. You can't just put it right on the property line.
As long as there's applicable zoning for that type of situation.
Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve this draft.
Any support? It's been moved and supported to approve the mobile food vending ordinance is drafted and to send to the city council. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor of approving the ordinance is drafted signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. For several months, we got that off the plate. Discussion of comprehensive plan. Some of you may have come in a little early this evening, and a few of us were here chatting about the comprehensive plan. We got moving that forward. Ian, why don't you give people a little bit of a background as to what's happened the last couple of weeks?
Okay, so we have been working with the consultants that we hired through funding through the MEDC, Beckett and Rader, to work on an update to our existing comprehensive plan to stay in compliance with state best practices, ordinances, mandates on having a master plan. We call it our comprehensive plan. We had a kickoff meeting in September, our first regular steering committee meeting comprising of members of City Council, Planning Commission, Albion Economic Development Corporation, and City Administration in October, and we just had our second one prior to this Planning Commission meeting. Right now, we are focused on the community engagement aspect. We have a survey for our residents that is up and running until November 8th, or if we need it to go farther than that, we can. December 8th, yep.
And Ian, let me stop you right there,
Yeah.
because obviously all of us should be taking that, so how do we do that? How do we go and do that?
There is a link. Oh, okay, we have a flyer that has the link, a QR code that takes you to the same link, or a note on the bottom that says hard copies available at City Hall. Councilmember Reed has had me print off a few, and she's taken, well, more than a few, close to 100 out to people in her community. Per the numbers we had from digital feedback for the comprehensive plan survey, I believe the hard copies are currently winning. I can, and anybody could call anyone else at the City Hall, and they would probably direct that call to me if you don't have my contact information directly, and I can provide you that survey in whatever format, hard copy PDF link that you desire. And I'm happy to do so.
Is the QR code on the Albion City website?
Believe so. Yeah, so the flyer is a PDF that, and it's a landscape format. It's got our logo, what it is, the written link, the note that says we'll give you a hard copy, and the QR code right there. I've handed out a couple of those to, well, I don't remember, but I've handed out a couple of those.
I'm sorry for the digression, I just want to
No.
make sure every commissioner knows about where to go, so that we, obviously, we should all take the survey, so that we contribute to the data.
Yeah, your feedback is especially appreciated. But yes, if you want that flyer, if you want hard copies of the survey, if you want me to ride along with you as you distribute it to your friends and neighbors, more than happy to do so, as long as you get some feedback on this. Where we're at right now is finalizing what we are planning with Beckett and Rader for youth engagement. When we say youth engagement, we're the loosely 16 to 22-year-old age range. We are holding that session on November 30th at the Ludington Center. And that will include AC3, which is a acronym for a group of students at Albion College who the Economic Development Corporation has leveraged for their purposes and are in keeping that group engaged in these sort of civic matters. So they're having that group kind of spearhead bringing people to that community engagement session, the youth engagement session on the 30th at the Ludington Center. After that, we will have a 7:30 to 9 at the Ludington Center. After that, there will mostly just be some work on Beckett and Rader's end until we have our shareholder meeting sometime early January. That will involve nonprofits, businesses, any community organizations, some Calvin County and adjacent community partners, anyone who might pass through for lunch for their whole workday has lived here since they were 2 and never left. That we were trying to just capture everyone's involvement there, but specifically through businesses. So if you want your business or your friend's business to be invited to that session, please get that the name of that organization and the contact person at that organization to me before the new year.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yeah.
What date, when is this one, the shareholder meeting?
We haven't picked a date, but it will be in the first half of January.
Okay, thank you.
And then in the second half of January, we're going to have what Beckett and Rader call the community visioning session. And I will admit to not presently remembering exactly what that will entail, but it's another layer of our community engagement. All of these community engagement sessions, and especially our survey, are our main method of collecting qualitative data. We're using census data, but we're trying to get some information on a more personal level to inform our decisions, inform your decisions. going forward with this. So we've got something coming up right after Thanksgiving and 2 things coming up right after the new year. Any and all of you reach out to me, have your friends and family reach out to me if you have any kind of questions about that, I'm happy to help. That is the extent of my update at this point as a brief 100,000 foot perspective. We have a deadline of February to recertify our comprehensive plan with the state. I don't expect that to be a February 12th by 5:01 p.m. or we're in trouble, but we'd like to finish it up promptly and get that done in time to be in good standing with the state. And that is has a secondary purpose of keeping our redevelopment ready community status, which has a deadline further out, either 23 or 24. So that's where we're at. Feeling good about it. Hope you are too.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Dan, got a question. How are we letting the community know about the community engagement aspect?
Well, I am trying to tell everyone who walks into my office about it. I've emailed it out to the college, the EDC, the county, to try and get them to distribute it there. You've all received at least the survey flyer, if not the PDF of the survey itself, via email, and I encourage you to distribute that to all of your circles. And I am more than happy to assist in whatever we can. I think we need to put it out on the city's social media accounts, which I don't think has happened, though I believe it is on the website, but I don't think there's a whole lot of people that just go to our website.
We can get it pushed out through the city's Facebook page, as well as I do include it in my city manager's report, past 2 council meetings. Make sure to just announce that for anyone attending that or viewing the YouTube, as well as we've offered to provide council members with hard copies that they can then distribute within their precincts or at their precinct meetings as well.
And if you know a group that hasn't been reached, let me know, and we'll reach it.
And so we're also invited to share this broadly as we can to.
It would apply to anyone who lives or works in Albion.
Can you say there's a flyer that's been put together for this?
And I can, yeah, that was emailed to you, and I could print out.
Those were the ones that you got when you put in.
Well, I got the survey and I handed out the survey. What I'm hearing is something about community engagement with different things that's happening at the level center. And I'm trying to figure out how do the people.
So those community engagement sessions, this is the probably first notice of any of those. The flyer has the different ways you can complete the survey. There's a link to it. There's a note that says I'll print you a copy, and when I've been emailing it, I've been trying to include the PDF of the flyer as well as the PDF of the survey itself for printing or completing there.
But I guess I'm getting confused because I'm understanding the survey, the flyer, I got that and got that passed out to people hard copy. But I heard you say something about community engagement situations that's going to be happening at the level center.
Yes, so at the Ludington Center, the next one coming up is a youth engagement survey that is going to, when we say youth, we're maybe meaning a specific focus group from the college. I think Tom and Mark had recommended Albion, what's the big read?
Albion
Big Read,
Albion Big Read and Albion Fellows. I think Amy Deprez and Liz were mostly coordinating that group. It's not going to be.
So
I don't know that youth is
planning for specific groups right now.
Yes,
And not just kind of like wide open to the community.
correct.
Because that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Community engagement, I think, is wide open to the community and how are we getting it out. But what I'm understanding now is specific groups that has been invited to.
Yeah,
In January, you are gonna have anybody welcome kind of.
yes, I believe that's the community visioning session, and then prior to that, so let me make that timeline clear. Right after Thanksgiving, November 30th, youth engagement, the focus groups that we've outlined here from the college. And then 2 events in January, the first one being the stakeholders, which will be businesses, nonprofits, engaging everyone, but not as individuals, as the entities that they're a part of. And then the second half of January, we'll have that community visioning, which will hopefully be like an auditorium kind of deal, that in terms of volume of people.
And when that date is solidified for that event, we will make sure that proper notices are provided to all of the commissioners to then blast out to your circles or residents within the community. We'll make sure that it's shared on the website, city's Facebook page, but it just has not been scheduled yet.
Other commissioner questions? All right, great. Thank you. I think we're down to excuse absent board member. Well, did we hear from Mr. Rebecki? Okay, so there's been a number of absences by Commissioner Rebecki without notice, I believe. Is that true?
I would have to look back at the minutes, but
Yeah, I just,
should say yes.
maybe we should review that, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you have 3 in a row with no notice, that's call for removal, but I'm just going based on memory.
I think that's correct.
I can do a look through a kind of an audit of absences
Okay,
and notice for those absences.
you know, we may be looking at turning someone else here or not. Given that we don't have any notice from the person who's absent, I'm assuming we don't have a motion for excusal. Any public, we have some in the public now, I want to go over. That's fine. Any commissioner comments? All right. Okay, well, I mean, not the record, it's pretty close. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Is that a motion to adjourn? And support? Yeah. Lynn, Tom, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you.
And Dr. Bowers has contacted about doing a youth engagement. No. This is,
They had just fixed something. They had something.
I usually wait for all the catches all.
Yeah, and they're gonna be one of us. They.
I am good, how are you doing?
So Docket, yours and Patrick's just making notes on it. But it's in writing.
Yeah, I put that.
Yeah.